Abraham, who believed by faith and was seeking for a city whose foundations were made and whose builder was God. And that city we are talking about, now they were looking for a city. But here he says, wherefore, after speaking of all the account of faith, it begins now to exhort us after the patriarchs. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which easily besets us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Now, when we are running in that race, we are being told about the city that we are looking for, which the builder is God, in verse number 22 and verse number 23. And it begins to speak about Mount Zion, which is that city. Number one, there are 5 things you begin to realize about Mount Zion. It is a city of the living God. It is the heavenly Jerusalem. It is the general assembly. It is a city of the spirits of just men made perfect. Mount Zion is the church, the body of Christ. Because the body of Christ is which the foundation is Christ, who is God. We are looking for a city whose builder is God, whose foundations are God. And that is why Jesus himself is saying to Peter in the book of Matthew chapter 16, that upon this revelation, I shall build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. Because he said, Peter, thou art the rock. Thou art the rock. Upon this rock, the rock is Jesus, is not Peter. We are going back there. Now you begin to realize, by definition, the church is the city of the living God, which is Mount Zion. Are we together? Now you begin to realize there is always a counterpart enemy of the church, and it is called Babel. In the book of Psalms chapter 137 verse number 1, the Bible is saying, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat. We cried when we remembered Zion. This is a time when the children of Israel, the children of the promise, who had already attained the promise of the city of the living God, they have been captured from the city of the living God, and they have been taken to Babylon. Now Babylon is the preamble or the enemy that we are fighting. In other words, if you are not in Mount Zion, you are in Babylon. You begin to ask yourself, where am I? Because Babylon is real. But before the foundation of the church is Christ. Because we are looking for a city whose builder and foundation is God. That the church cannot exist minus Christ. There is no church minus Christ. When Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, say, who do men say I am? And they say, some say, thou art John the Baptist, some Elias, some Jeremiah, some the prophet. He said unto them, but whom do you say that I am? Verse 16. And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ. Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock, it is not saying that upon Peter, upon this rock, he was referring to himself, the rock, the foundation of the church. I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. The church that is built on the foundation of Christ, the gates of hell cannot prevail. In other words, if the gates of hell are prevailing against the church, then there is a problem. Now you begin to realize that we are speaking about who we are, because the great assembly of the brethren, we are referred to as Christians. Are we together? Why are we being referred to as Christians? We are being referred to as Christians because we ought to live and behave as unto Christ. Because if you are from Kenya, you are referred to as a Kenyan. If you are from Uganda, you are referred to as a Ugandan. If you are from Christ, you are called out of Christ. You are a Christian. In other words, the identity Christian is not just for a name. It is an identity of which you become from. You are called out. Ek kaleo. Called out of Christ. If you are from Kenya, you are called out of Kenya as a Kenyan. But when you are from Christ, you are called out of Christ as a Christian.